business, from the planning board, but John, do you have anything you want to mention or update? Appreciate, I'll just say this, I think since the last meeting, we've, through the work that you all have done in the fire department as well, we've removed a couple of dilapidated homes. That's one or two since the last meeting. I know we've had two this spring.
Part two and demo two in the last 2 or 3 months.
So, although there are no reports, we thank you both, your department and fire department as well for that work. Next item then, moving along, is the consideration of the adoption of the budget amendments. Those are mentioned in your packet on pages 10 and 12, and these are necessary to adjust the prior year budget and to balance it out. So, Monty, do you have any comments you want to make on those, or Jennifer Landis is here as well?
You have everything before you. Jennifer prepared these. I read them over, and of course, I trust her judgment on this, but she's here if you have any questions.
Very good, thank you. And you all have had a chance to see it in your packet. Do we have a motion on those budget amendments then for the prior 2023-2024 year?
Smooth, I make a motion.
Very good. Motion we approve from Councilman Dean.
Second.
Second from Councilman Willard. Any comments? If not, those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, the next item, moving right along, is public hearing on our proposed 2024-2025 city budget. That was presented earlier, and we've had a budget workshop on it as a council as well. And welcome any public input if anybody'd like to speak to our next year's proposed budget. I'll open the public hearing. No one is to speak. I'll declare the public hearing closed. I'll move on with the consideration of the adoption of that amendment. We've had a chance to study it. We've had a couple of adjustments in the last week or so. If you want to carry us through those, Mike.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, since the budget workshops and the presentation of the budget and now the public hearing on the budget, the Richland County government has passed their budget for 24-25. Prior to this year, we had received $252,000 annually in sales tax replacement, and in addition to that, $63,788 for recreation, for a total of $315,788 that we received from the county to put towards providing recreation. Of course, our recreation is basically open registration. 70% of our residents, 70% of our participants in our recreation program are non-city or county residents. And so that take out capital outlay, and that figure, $315,788, is roughly about provided about 50% of our annual budget, which if you take out capital for next year, you'd be somewhere around, $550,000, $600,000 in that neighborhood. So that was roughly, half of the annual budget. And of course, we know now that the county adopted a budget last week that does no longer provide the $252,000, but they did provide $95,000 for parks and recreation. They arrived at that number by the best I can tell in conversations, going back to the number they previously provided for recreation prior to COVID and the sales tax, which was $63,788 a month, a year, and then they added $30,000 of that. So our money received from the county has gone from $315,788 to $95,000, which is a difference of $220,788. So obviously, right now, this happening this late in the year, we don't have a lot of time to make adjustments to parks and recreation. We know this does create a shortfall in a revaluation year, and clearly we know that our budgets are going to run in the neighborhood of $650,000, $700,000, $600,000 to $700,000 in parks and recreation. This year is slightly over $800,000, but there's this year's budget was $823,000, and there's $135,000 in capital outlay, so budget somewhere in the neighborhood of $700,000. So, even though, and you know, I'm disappointed, obviously, you'll have comments that, the county chose to reduce that amount of funding for recreation, particularly since they don't provide countywide recreation, and our program clearly feels that need to provide countywide recreation, and we allow, them to participate, non-city county residents participate. So, you've got two budget ordinances in front of you. You've got one that, was the original budget ordinance, and you got the two that takes into consideration this $220,788 shortfall by, having a 55-cent tax rate, going from 58 to 55 versus going from 58 to 53, which was our original, budget amendment you had there. Even with that, creating that would provide an additional $172,000 in new revenue, giving us a shortfall of $48,788. But that's a lot easier to make up, and looking forward to what we would, I'm sure council would charge staff to, after July 1, to take a look at recreation and make decisions about what participation levels will be now going forward with non-city county residents, and cost containment and moving forward at that point. So you have two budget ordinances there. City council obviously is in a position now to adopt either one, the one that sets tax rate at 53 or that does not make up that full shortfall, or to do the one at 55 that does make up the majority of that shortfall. And so that's, I'll answer any questions, but I've briefed you all on this already, and you have the budget ordinances in front of you for whichever way the council decides to go.
But you didn't have it, they never explained anything to you, did they?
Never knew anything about it at the budget was done. We knew it was in peril or whatever, but never had any firm conversations or on.
You
Cut all the money.
You would thought maybe the county would have, said something about, maybe cutting us a little short.
Monty, am I right? You said they give us 95,000.
That's in next year's budget.
Yeah, that's what's coming.
Yeah.
Plus 30,000 for
No,
it?
the 30,000, they gave us 63,788 for years
Right.
for
okay.
recreation.
Okay.
And then when they did the sales tax, the 252, we just, they asked us to use that money for programs that benefit county residents, and we put it towards recreation. And so that's what those numbers track with. That 315, we were putting it towards, our recreation budget, then to where 70% of the.
Okay, I just thought you said then.
So what we ended up with, so what they did, apparently, they gave 30,000 to every municipality. And they just added it to whatever the prior numbers were. To my best recollection, what I've been told about the budget and seen is like if they gave Hamlet 47, they now get 77. If they gave Dobbins Heights, whatever it is, they added 30,000 to every municipality's recreation budget. The best I can understand what they did. But I know what they did with us,
Right.
and they added 30,000 to the 63. So we got 95,000 in the budget for next year.
So last time we had the budget, and we had the big, almost a lawsuit.
Yep.
So in this, this is doing the same tax,
Well,
the same
yeah,
thing
but-
that was then, right?
Well, yeah, but they made a settlement that we knew was not probably gonna be, they were not committed to long term. On the replacement of sales tax. That was just up until, and that was on a year-to-year basis. But they agreed to do it for 2 years, but to my knowledge, Jennifer, you never got a letter or anything otherwise. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you sent an email to the county while the budget was being prepared and asked them, did we need to do anything to request the funding? You said no, they said no, and everything was fine. Is that correct?
They said they sent out a letter like they do every year, but we never got that letter, and I just sent our request through an email. He told me that, and then never heard anything else back until we found out this. And I confirmed with Gary yesterday that that is what they're doing, the 95.
And I know it's not what we're supposed to talk about here tonight, but it is a concern too. So little towns like Dalvin Heights, Norman, they're gonna be back in the same situation that they probably were gonna be before, basically.
Apparently.
Wow.
Well, the county's not planning to do their own parks and recreational type. So then people, we're not, or the smaller towns aren't gonna be able to afford to open it up to the county residents, so are they planning to have their own? Or they just wanna throw it on us, like how?
Well, I don't think there are any plans for them to have their own countywide recreation.
I don't think so either, I'm
But they
saying,
have
like, where do they think
recreation
the money's
in
gonna come
Rockingham.
from for the county residents, cause that's, makes up 70%, like, I mean, that's a lot of children. And most of the people, not most, but a lot of people I know that coach are, they don't live in the city limits. So, I mean, there's already problems with getting people to participate on like the coaching level, so I don't think people are gonna be super thrilled about that.
Well, you know, it's just a situation that has never been addressed on a
Yeah.
permanent basis. We definitely had it in better shape over the last couple of years. And, you know, and obviously, the county's, you know, decided to not do the 252 and change it out to $30,000 to every municipality added to their recreation, with the exception of Norman, who does not have a recreation program. And, you know, that keeps the town of Norman open for sure. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at.
So they were giving us $252,000, and it was understood that was for recreation. They cut it out, so essentially the county has cut out any recreation money that they're providing.
Yeah, I mean, they were fully aware we were using it, and we had multiple discussions with the county, Mr. Mayor, and about, well, you know, cause they asked, you know, that money was contingent about, you know, they said in meetings and even that gift funded to the cities, the county residents got a benefit out of, and that was.
Recreation. So essentially, we were the pass-through, the county's the one who cut the recreation budget.
Well, taking a step further, they've been given $63,000 for recreation for years.
Yeah.
That was their contribution to the city's recreation. And then, when they took the sales tax money, the $252,000 was in lieu of the sales tax. It would replace the sales tax revenue that was coming to the city. We designated it for recreation. So now, they've eliminated that additional sales tax money. It's not really their contribution to recreation. It was the sales tax money that they, took from the city several years ago. So, I mean, we're back to the original amount they would contribute to recreation, which started in the 80s.
1984, the county up and overnight went out of the recreation business and turned it over to the cities. And we got it in 1984. The annual budget for recreation that year was $90,000. Today, it's $800 in the county.
And at that point, they gave half. They paid $45,000.
That's correct. And
And
as the budget grew, that got to $63.78. Well, that means that 30 years later, 40 years later. Yeah.
So it's very unfortunate that the county's made, well, I say a short-sighted decision that's gonna potentially penalize our recreation program. And there's, you know, the county citizens, they're gonna be the ones, I mean, we went through this several years ago with county participation, and, you know, we wanted it open, but it's not fair for the citizens of Rockingham to subsidize recreation for the whole county.
And you remember, we did cut participation levels.
We did.
And our target was about 20% at that time, and we did reduce it by 20% by going to the 28379 zip codes, and it goes back to the Cordova, you know, you follow that zip code and eliminated the other two zip codes. And so that took about 20% participation then. Things leveled off, we didn't need all the facilities in the schools, we were able to cut back, you know, a lot of, extra expenditures there to where we're at today. And of course, with the growth we've had, you know, it's no secret, ride by Bridle Park, and they're parked everywhere. And they're overloaded, and it's recreation, it's quality of life, and, you know, we talk about, successful shell building programs and, all the stuff you hear from the county, and economic development, and their quality of life is a key issue that folks look at for community living standards, and they're cutting substantially, and they don't have an alternative for the county residents. And
If
that's-
there was an alternative, that would be great, that would be, you know, but there's no alternative. No.
But they do have East Rockingham Park. They do have a ball field out there and 2 full-time employees and a pool in East Rockingham Park. So they do, you know, whether that would support countywide recreation or not, I don't have a clue. I'm doubtful of that option.
In ours it's 70%, yeah, 70% of them from the county.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, I see that $252,000 they're giving us is earmarked to pass through us for recreation, and that's what they eliminate.
So it's gonna cost us Rockingham basically 2 or 3 cents on the tax rate to try to make that up.
Exactly.
Well, see, there was a common misconception, and I think it was intentionally misleading, that when we raised the tax rates, and said we completely replaced the sales tax rate, which wasn't true. That's that 252, that's where they arrived at that number for every town, that we were about $250,000 short at that point. So this is gonna be the full effect of elimination of the sales tax. And, you know, that's, this is what it is.
So we're not able to give the citizens well, it depends on what the board votes on, but it's difficult to give the citizens as big of a tax cut as we would have wanted.
I think so, given the circumstances, because unless you're, and we're not in a position to make a reasonable, logical approach to recreation right now, to take a look at what the data shows. And we already know the 70% about, you know, what would be the participation level to reduce costs, and we don't have that information, can't get it in less than 30 days.
And it's unfortunate, a lot of our citizens will see a tax increase due to the valuation that we can't get the revenue neutral.
Yeah, the city residents will wind up getting the tax increase and everything, where, you know, the county, if they went on and done what they're supposed to do, be more even out.
Well, and we're gonna get a tax increase basically
Yeah.
to subsidize Canada residents.
Right.
That's what it boils down to.
See, this has been going on, like you say, since 1984. They've less funded us, you know, over the years and everything. I think they started, was it 45? And they finally got it up to about 63 or something like that.
37, whatever it is.
And you know, this was over a period of 40 years. And, I'm really disappointed that they don't look at us a little bit better with that, you know, trying to do something for the, county residents that we are not supposed to have to do. You know, everybody should pay their fair share, and I just don't think the county's doing it. And I'm highly disappointed in it.
And the other problem too is you can't pass along, you talk about charging non-city or county residents more money. That would be so astronomically high, that in itself would be cost prohibitive to families, that you wanna keep the cost as low as possible to allow children to participate in partial recreation program. And then there's a point it becomes cost prohibitive if you try to make up that on the backs of the children and their families. They've got, you know, all other worries and concerns with meeting the household budget. And obviously we've got something that works, because you're going to see crowds, and you can see the registrations, and everything's full, everything fills up.
Well, because it's affordable and it's doable for families who live in Richmond County that can't afford maybe travel or dance or cheer or whatever that's super expensive, so that's
Well,
really.
even just like the day camp, I mean, that $80 a week, that's cheap.
That's really cheap.
That's cheap babysit, you know?
We target and try to get 25% of the cost of the program back through fees. That's what our firm, you know, shoots for. With adults, where I don't know that we have any more than we charge adults, it's about 50%. Try to get back in fees.
There's a little, group that does the pickleball, and I've not played in a couple months. But anyhow, I saw one of the guys today said to another person, he said, quit asking people to come play. We don't have enough space now, it's getting so crowded out there, so.
But we start charging now that we got it, you know, we've done the bait and switch. We've got them, when we
Yeah.
come now, they got them for free.
Yeah.
Now we can start charging.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is fair, but Jennifer, put you on the spot. Do you have a recommendation as finance director,
Well, I mean,
how to make this up and what the figure of
I
that?
think what we've done with the 55 cents gets us, you know, I mean, cause I think just with valuations going up, it's a hard argument to stay at 58 cents. So I think residents probably are looking for us to come down a little bit, but 55 cents makes up 170,000 of that 250 that we're losing, or 220 that we're losing when you take the increase 30. So I think that, I mean, that gets us about as close as, I mean, Monty and I both have looked at it and we're comfortable with that number.
So to go to what we originally were talking about in the 53,
At the 53.
if we'd have $170,000 shortfall.
If you went to the 53, you'd be short $220,000.
You close that gap at 48.
So we're gonna have a shortfall even at 55.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's what I want on the record.
Yes.
Yeah, there is gonna be a shortfall of about $48,000.
I mean, I hate to not be able to cut it back more, but our hands are tied.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we use the 55-cent, tax charge.
The adopt the budget ordinance.
Adopt the budget order.
55 cents.
For that, about 55 cent.
Very good, thank you. We have a motion from Councilman Willard to adopt the budget ordinance with a 55-cent tax rate. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Dean. Any further discussion? Not those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? Monty, not get deep into the weeds, but I think it's worth pointing out that we pay for a lot of county services that we don't use whatsoever. We might get backup support from the sheriff's department if need be, but we subsidize the county's law enforcement, we subsidize the countywide fire departments that do not serve the citizens of Rockingham. You would think the county would give us something in return, just to try to even it out, but it is what it is.
And then you got the value of investment, the value of tax base of City of Rockingham, the investments we made, it's attracted all of the national chains that are located here in the last 5 years, growth in downtown, the livability, you know, the economic in town, Discovery Place kids, all of these things that are made available by the City of Rockingham's investments in water and sewer, police, police department, fire department with a class 2 rating, for industrial classifications, all of that stuff adds up in the long run. Clear.
It's value to
Did they
capitalize.
include Discovery Place in their,
No, that.
no,
They hadn't included that in years.
they've not?
No, they've taken that a long time ago. That's when we made up the difference and they had the 50,000 under our budget.
But yet on all their brochures and everything, you sure they put it out there, but it's a part of Richard County.
Did they provide anything for the upgrades at Discovery Place?
Pardon?
The investments Discovery Place has made into the upgrades of the county and so.
They did it through the tourism.
Yeah, not direct, only through tourism.
Yeah, same thing that we did it through tourism. But we're already putting $100,000 a year.
Well, see, originally they, agreed to support, Discovery Place.
Well, they originally were making an annual financial contribution, yes, like we were, like we do.
Which would have amounted to like $1 a child.
So I don't remember that. I don't remember. You're asking me numbers I don't remember.
I've studied it because I'm pretty hot about this anyway. All right, well, we've adopted the budget ordinance with 55-cent rate. That moves us on to consideration of appointment of the city attorney. You wanna carry us through that?
Yes, our city attorney, he's done a great job, and we certainly hate that this is gonna be his last meeting, but Benny has served well. He's done a great job for the city, but he came to John and I a couple of months ago and said he was ready to slow down and move towards retirement. I don't know exactly what his plans were, but so we began to look at what our options were for city attorney. And I had discussed this with you all at the budget meeting for further direction. And what you have before you is a recommendation to appoint Bro Law Firm, who that firm specializes strictly in municipal law, period. That's what they do. Personnel, zoning, whatever the circumstances are. They represented us on several cases, they represented us on the sales tax case, and, with the county, they're very competent, and they're a full service, municipal law firm. And then we, as part of that, since they are, out of town, they will send attorneys as we need them. John and I work with them. They got, Jennifer and our tax collectors information to work on bankruptcies and that kind of stuff like that. They'll take over all of that, of those filings and handle that. And then to appoint Ray Herndon as the city attorney as well, to principally work on local matters, property, title searches, when we do code, housing demolitions, code enforcement, which is truthfully the bulk of what our city attorney does anyway. Isn't that correct, Manny?
That's right.
That's a good bit of work, that we use a local attorney for that. So that would be our recommendation, my recommendation to council, that you appoint Raw Law Firm and Ray Herndon on the basis as I just described.
Thank you very much. Do we have any comments or input on that?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, we had to use Bro on our specialty issues, and, that's Ray Herndon's specialty locally is real estate matters, so he'll be a good attorney for those matters. So I'll offer a motion that we approve him as presented.
Mayor, just since Ray is my son-in-law, I'm gonna abstain from this vote, okay?
Very
No,
good.
no problem.
Just-
No problem.
Just not abstain, cause if you, recuse yourself for
Okay,
appearance of conflict of interest,
okay, all right.
for the record. That's-
Okay, all right, thank you.
Whoever gave
Very
you
good.
the guidance, conflict of interest.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, any further comments, or do we have a motion? All right, motion to do both things I mentioned here. Appointment of Bro Law Firm, for the more difficult, complicated, involved municipal matters, and Ray Herndon for the local issues. All right, we have that motion. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Willard. Any further discussion? Not those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Vinnie, thank you.
I would like to say one thing. I have bragged about the way the city has been run by the city council and managers and the people that work out with the public, the law enforcement, everything. This is a well-run municipality. I was proud to be here as a city attorney for about 6-8 years now, right under it. But I was proud to serve here. I congratulate all of y'all for doing such a great job. This is just a nicely run municipality. Congratulations. I think it'll continue. As long as your goal is to do the best for your citizens, then everybody can work towards the same goal. And I think that's what they try to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinnie. Certainly appreciate those years of service. Next item, is this was in our May packet that this month we're going to have our board appointments, and there are a number of them.
You want John to go down the list?
Sure, if you would.
Like, city clerk would.
So,
This is here.
on the ABC board, we've got, Malcolm Cluster, in terms of, board of adjustments, Tim Long, he's an ETJ alternate, Caroline Thomas Good, she's an ETJ representative, their terms are up, these are 3-year terms. Rockingham Historic Preservation Board, I actually have 5 vacancies here, we've got, 2 vacant seats, Michelle Denham, Marty Good, and Michelle has indicated that she is resigning from the board, so she definitely is not going to be represented. And, Marty Goodman, and, Randy Moore. All these, Randy and Marty are both eligible for reappointment. There's nothing on the public library board this year. Planning and zoning board, Antonio Evans and Brent Neal for both, their terms are up. And, tourism board, Angela Watkins, which she was appointed to fill the unexpired seat of, Secretary Taylor. And then there's no appointments to the House Department.
Okay. Board of Adjustments, for Tim Long and Caroline Thomas Goodwin, available for reappointment.
Yes. And what you do there is, John, you would make a recommendation to the county commissioners, but they're actually appointed by the county commissioners.
Very good. All right, we'll just go on down the list if we want to. First thing on the list was ABC Board. Malcolm McClester has said that he does not intend to continue serving on the board at the expiration of his term at the end of this month. So we do have a vacancy on the ABC Board. Do we have a appointment or recommendation for that board?
I thought we talked and we were all kind of in agreement with Jason, Kevin.
Jason, I think, has indicated that he would do it.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we put Jason.
All right. So a motion from Councilman Willard. Do we have a second?
Signify which Jason you're talking about.
Jason Coe.
Jason Cohen.
I'll second.
Okay. Second from Councilwoman Howe. Any discussion?
I would just like to recommend that I feel like if, that for the chairman of the board, that we move Greg Levert to that position, being he's the one that's been there. Move Greg to chairman of that board.
Do that as a separate motion.
Oh, okay.
Appoint a member and then designate chairman.
Yeah. You beat me to that, John.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on that board? Not those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? All right. And then Councilwoman Sullivan, you want to make that into a motion? Or,
Okay, I make a motion that we appoint Greg Levert as chairman of the ABC board.
do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Dean. Any discussion? Not those in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, Board of Adjustments.
Those are two good members, can we just reappoint them?
We can recommend that the county.
Yeah, let's just do that, I'll make that a motion.
Okay, motion from Councilman Dean for
Second.
Tim Long, Caroline Thomas Goodman. Second from Councilman Willard. Any discussion? Not those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, on the Historic Preservation Board, that's a lot of people with 5 vacancies right now. Are we prepared to tackle all of those tonight, or do you want to just tackle some of those?
Why don't we reappoint Marty and Randy if they're willing to serve?
And I've not reached out to them, but
I mean, we can
Yeah, yeah.
appoint them if something happens, we can make an adjustment, but I'll make a motion, let's reappoint those two.
Yeah, at least you have a couple.
And we'll hopefully have a board that can act if they need to.
All right,
I second that.
so motion by Councilman Dean, second by Councilman Willard to reappoint Marty Goodman and Randy Warren to the Historic Preservation Board.
That's actually a good man, Marty Goodman.
Yeah, it is good, man. I was reading straight off there. It's Marty Goodman.
Just to clarify.
All those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed?
And for clarification on that board, the ordinance, the UDO establishes that as a 7-member board, but we've been functioning as a 5-member board for several years now because it's so difficult to find people to serve. The law actually says you have to have somebody who has experience in historic preservation or knowledge of architecture and finding anybody who meets those criteria has always been the same. So the board has functioned with 5 members for just fine for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Just to clarify.
Mr. Mayor, we do have 2 people in the audience here tonight.
Yeah.
You all have really worked hard at some historic preservation. I would like for you to think about maybe
Yeah.
one of you serving on this board.
Can I speak?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you during the business time, so.
I
please
mean,
come on.
this may automatically make us ineligible that we're not residents of North Carolina, right? So we're automatically wouldn't be eligible,
That's great.
yeah.
I-
Although
Great thoughts,
we appreciate,
great thoughts,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
we appreciate the, encouragement.
We would like to invite
Reason
you.
to move, be a mutual resident.
You scare us when you say that because we appreciate the work you're doing.
Yeah.
We'll cover that all in a minute. The next item that would be one we would need to address would be planning and zoning, 3-year term. Antonio Evans and Brent Neal have expiring terms right now.
I think we give John some time to, I mean, that planning board's critical, so maybe come back next month.
In July. Is that the will of the board? Very good. We'll come back to 3 Historic Preservation Board seats and both of the Planning Board seats in July. Richmond County Tourism Board, Angela Watkins, who's filling an unexpired term right now. What is your will on that?
Motion to appoint Angela.
Very good. Motion from Councilman Dean, second from Councilman Willard. Any discussion? Those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, good. We'll come back to the others next month. Now we move on to business by visitors. I don't know if you all came to say anything. I know.
You know, we, when we're here and we have the ability to come to these meetings, we.
Come on up, if you
Oh,
will.
jeez.
She's like, it's you.
She's the better public
Don't get me
speaker.
started. Trust
They
me.
won't be able to hear you on the
I got
broadcast.
you, I got you. When we're here working, we enjoy coming to the meetings.
Yeah,
Let us introduce you.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, this is the Darlings, Brian and Nicole Darling. They have, I believe it's their 4th house in the city limits, or 5th house?
This will be four? This will be four.
One on Randolph, 2 on Everett, and one on
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, yeah, you all are nearing the end, I see on social media, of the renovation of the 4th historic home in town.
Very tired.
And, you know, would love to hear your feedback, your thoughts, and your experiences.
Both of you.
Say what I say. She's getting.
This is her. We, personally, we had it tied to Richmond County before we came back to do the work on the historical homes. And we live in Elwood before peace. And, we really enjoyed the area, the community, the people. And our youngest daughter, somehow, I don't know how it happened, she was at App State and ended up transferring to RCC for the nursing program and bought a house. And then they would become, her and her husband would become pregnant, they'd have a child, and my wife said, we're getting close to the granddaughter.
All
So,
against our will.
That's how we ended here, because we were up in Davidson County, so that's how we ended up here. And, we've really enjoyed our time here. Through some family emergencies and situations that arose, we ended up moving back home to Florida, which is where we're from. And just through happenstance, an opportunity arose in Hamlet, which was the first one that we officially did here in town, or in the county. And, we've kind of been here ever since, but we do go home. You know, we don't live here. We reside here while we're doing the project, and then we go home. And then we come back when it's time to start the next one. So we're probably here more than 50% of the time, if I'm being honest. But, I've personally have enjoyed getting to know the folks that work for the city, the people on the council. I feel like, the mayor has been very beneficial for us. We've had conversations and, very, very impressed with what he's doing. And then Mr. Massey over here, we've had a lot of discussion with him, and he's always been extremely helpful with what he can be, and he's an asset to us. I know he belongs to you guys, but we count him as an asset for us too. He's professional to the point, he helps us, he gets the information we need, sets up the meetings with the historical, I always get this wrong, preservation, right? Because I always think it's the other one. And then, because of the house we're doing now, Miss Sullivan walks by our house every morning, and we've established a little repertoire, which has been very nice as well. And unbeknownst to me, and I'm sorry, Mr. Dean works across the street from us, and I'm just so blindsided or nearsighted into what I'm doing that I don't always pay attention to what's surrounding me. So, all in all, we're very pleased with the city of Rockingham from our viewpoint. Everybody has things that they would change or things that they don't like. We are no exception to that. There's some things that could move easier for us, but it's, we'll just call it red tape, you know? And it's what we have to do and what we have to go through to do what we do. And, so far it hasn't been a deterrent. Trying to think of the right word. More of a little bit of a headache here and there. We've had to change direction on some things because the committee didn't see eye to eye with us. And that's what they're here for. We understand their opinion, and when they give it to us, then that's what we do. And then on the one other person that I think two people I should mention is the permit department. They've been really good. Tim Combs, I know there's another Tim Patton. Tim Combs has been out and done some permit stuff for us, inspections, and he's always pretty professional. Tim's Tim. We've gotten to know Tim a little bit, so we got that. And then for some reason in my head, the lady that was my wife was Christy. I couldn't think of her name for some reason. I call her by name all the time. She's very helpful too. So all in all, from a business standpoint, we're pleased, and we would like to continue to do this for a while. We're not quite to retirement age, so we've got a few more years in front of us. And as that happens, we actually have our next property kind of earmarked. So nothing official yet, but we think we know where we're going next. So we're kind of excited to get this one done, so we can move on to the next one. And the next one is also a historical home in the Historical Society, our district. So, Mr. Massey, you'll be hearing from me. Really, we're very pleased with the community, love it, and don't have anything but good things to say. When we go back to Florida, everybody's always asking us where we're at in North Carolina. Nobody knows, and it works out great for us. We like it. We're talking on that. So, we like the small town, but again, we've lived in rural North Carolina for a while, just not always here. So this feels just as much like home as Florida does. So that's all I got.
I can come down on my walk in the mornings about 4 till,
I'll tell
and you
everything
can
you know.
just hear just laughing and going on the porch. 8 o'clock, they go to work.
Yeah.
You come back, the porch is cleared, they're at work. It's
It's true. And I do want to add too that the workforce here, it's tricky. So we're fortunate that we've done enough of them that we bring the same contractors with us to every home, and we've built that reputation with those contractors. So we have little problem getting workers, but we know there's some other people in the town that are doing similar things to us, and they want to borrow our workers, and we don't want, it took us a while to establish these relationships and get to where these people were willing to come and work with us and help us and do things. So that's a little, I guess if I have one thing that I would complain about, would probably be something along that line. We try to bring in local people anytime we can, and that's like 99% of the time. We were very fortunate to meet a gentleman that lives over off of Hunter's Circle, I think. And he comes over and helps us out, does a little bit of labor work. Super nice guy, younger guy. We love him, his family, they come over sometimes. So I mean, really, the people have been really receptive to us, and we're pretty pleased. I'm done. Thank you.
But we do this for,
You gotta stand up to the podium, ma'am.
Just real quick, because we like to see what we're investing in as well. We pay a lot of money out doing this. I tell my brother, it's like almost gambling, It has its highs and it has its lows, and you hope you just come out in the end. And, but we like to see that there's growth. We like to feel like we're trying to bring people in, because we know with every dollar we can bring back into this community, it's going to grow. It will excel. So that's why we really like to come and just hear a little bit every now and then when we can, and get to know.
Can I add one thing? I'm trying to recollect. I believe all 3 houses that we sold in the city limits sold to people who weren't from in the city limits.
Oh, right.
They sold to people from other towns. So that's a benefit for the city as well. Property taxes and bringing new people in. So I just wanted, there's a desire to be here. The Parks and Rec thing kind of saddens me, because I think that's a big asset for the town.
especially with these historical homes, cause they are larger homes in most cases. And I always say, in most cases, it's gonna be a family who's going to fill this home up. Our last home had 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. You're not gonna find usually a retired couple who's interested in such a large home. Usually at that point, you're trying to downsize a little bit. And so, when it comes to our children, and we know, cause we now have 10 grandchildren, you really want to see something for them to bring families into the community with the schools, the parks and rec and things that they can afford, so.
And I think, we as a city are committed to providing recreation for our citizens. It just, it's difficult to figure out how to balance the budget
It's a tough decision.
with providing recreation beyond our own city. So as people come in, as they're talking to you, I believe the city wants to provide as much recreation as it can for its own citizens.
But what you guys are doing is amazing, and we are so grateful from the city standpoint, because you've taken houses that somewhat have been neglected or have sat and don't know what might happen to those homes, and you've brought new life into them and brought them back and to great aesthetically and livability and everything. So it's just tremendous, and so it's thrilled to hear you got another one on the radar, and we hope you'll keep it up, and the city's here to help. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Those historic homes are when people who've never been to town come through town, that's one thing that catches their eye, is those houses on Fayetteville Road, Randolph Street, the other historic areas. They're a great asset that we have, or there's something that does capture attention. And it gives us hope, it gives the citizens hope when they see those houses being rehabilitated. Because it's easy to look at them and think, how are we gonna maintain these houses? Who's gonna maintain them? And then when we have folks, we got 3 of them right now that are undergoing extensive renovation, including the one you all are working on. We're very thankful for that and appreciate the work that you all are doing. Other comments or thoughts for the darlings? Y'all didn't know you were gonna be put on the spot like that. But hopefully you see how much we do as a board appreciate what you're doing. So, city clerk is not with us tonight. Business by city manager.
Tim has started working Food King demo. You saw he's got the containers out there, so they've got far enough along with their plans. They're gonna start demo, and hopefully they'll be doing construction pretty soon after that. So that is good news. I know we get asked often when that's gonna start, getting ready to start. So that has been worked out. And then the other thing I have is next Plaza Jam will be on July the 3rd, which is a Wednesday instead of Thursday. Because July 4th is on that following Thursday. So instead of having conflict with other events going on, we'll kick off July 4th with a Wednesday night Plaza Jam, July 3rd. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Business by council members. Councilman Dean.
Just one thought comes to mind. Norton's Farms has been started up their Thursday evening events, and well attended, and we've heard that citizens. I mean, a lot of folks say sometimes there's not a lot to do. That's something really neat and fun to do, and local folks providing. So I encourage folks to they've got all kinds of neat things down there, providing entertainment, and just a really great event, great place that's hosting these events, and nice to be outdoors. So that's about all I got.
Yeah, most of those food trucks are locally owned,
Yeah.
so it keeps the money right here in Richmond County, providing jobs for the owners and keeping revenue right here. That's an excellent point. Councilwoman Sullivan.
Nothing other than what Monty said, Plaza Jam's on the 3rd. Can you believe that when we come back to the next city council meeting, the 4th will have come and go? I mean, before we know it, we're gonna be Merry Christmas or whatever, but time is flying. It's flying. John, also prayers for your family. That we think about it, okay?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Howe. No business by mayor either. So, hearing nothing further, I'll